Hi, Bracha. Excellent. Great stuff. This is great. Thank you for uploading your pictures and for labeling them correctly. Like I say to everyone, that's a big help for me. But this is great. It's a great portfolio of pictures. Let's jump in. Okay, so remember, the word that focus equals is distance. That's it. Know that as deeply as you can know that, because that is going to help you a huge amount understanding that. And it looks to me like you do. Obviously, the mustard here is closer than the ketchup. You're focused on the mustard, which means the ketchup is out of focus, and vice versa. Excellent. Well done. Beautifully demonstrated. Please remember, take this home, that if you're taking pictures of somebody and you've locked the focus and they like lean forward a little bit, yeah, you now need to refocus your camera. Whenever the distance between you, the photographer, and so-and-so, the subject, changes, you have to refocus your camera. Okay? It's just simple. It looks to me like you clearly understand that. Great. Well demonstrated. Very good. Okay. This is excellent. This is your third. This is something on my screen. This one is your example for on the third. This is great. You have a direction here of the baseball glove moving that way, which means, is that the third? Oh, so no, I didn't do that very well, did I? I would say this is a third, and this is a third. This is great, and we have also a third here, and a third here. That's good. So we really have, I mean, this really is, you really nailed that. The direction is moving in this way as well. So you really got that. That's great. That shows a real sensitivity to the tensions and the directions contained within an image. Very good. It's funny to look at this and like try and dissect an image of a baseball glove, but the image of a baseball glove is just as much an image of the Grand Canyon or of Michael Jackson. Doesn't matter. The graphics, the concept of the graphics, that's what we're trying to look for. As a photographer, we're trying to see through the outer trappings of the image and understand things on a graphical level. Okay, the composition, the underlying geometric structure, like you discussed in the last class and the class before that, all the textures and the patterns and all the elements of the image. And like we learned, the subject overrides everything. But as a photographer, as an amazing photographer, your goal is, so to speak, like to be tasting the elements of the image and making, like being a shadchan, making shidduchim between the subject and everything else. The background, the foreground, the props, the colours, whatever's going on. But for example, when you're taking a picture of a kid, of a happy, chubby kid, yeah, you should be looking for blues instead of reds. You should be looking for horizontal lines instead of vertical lines. You should be looking for soft textures as opposed to hard textures, etc., etc. As you go further in the process, you'll start to become more and more sensitive to it, and that's called becoming an excellent photographer. Okay. Great. So now this is close face. So you've again demonstrating a very sensitive eye to the image. There's a few things that we learn from this. The actual boy's face is obviously turned in this direction. However, his eyes are, that's a little bit too strong. His eyes are looking back in this direction, which means the way the image actually is it's actually very balanced on the vertical axis. We've got a line cut, like we saw, we've got attention moving this way, but the eyes are coming this way, and kind of just like the eyes are more powerful than the direction of the head, which means the image is balanced. Generally, if he was looking in this direction, then you would need more room over here to balance the image, because otherwise your eye would be going doing, banging into the side of the frame. But because his eye is pointing towards us and even a little bit going back to the left side, yeah, you've actually balanced the image beautifully. Very, very good. The one thing that I was really trying to help you understand in this image is the concept of balancing a face on the horizontal axis, which means that the image should be balanced the top and the bottom of the image should be balanced. Now, what that means, when you look at somebody's eyes, when you look at a close-up of a face, you're obviously, like we learned, your eyes are immediately drawn to the eyes. But then what happens to your eyes? Once you've seen the eyes, now your eyes move downwards. Okay? Obviously, we're much more interested by the nose and the mouth than we are by the hair, so our eyes move down. So to balance a face on the horizontal axis, like this, generally the eyes need to be above the center. So if you were to have given they are a teeny bit above center, but I would still add a teeny little bit more. If there was just a drop more space at the bottom, I think it would just balance the picture on the horizontal axis just that little bit more. But the actual image is great, and it really does show your sensitivity to the balance of an image. So nice one there, pat on the back. Okay, to space. Yeah, this is good. So now her eyes are, this is a great example because it's actually a similar kind of thing to this. You see how his face is turned this way, but his eyes are looking straight. So her face is turned this way, but her eyes are looking straight. So how comes it works that there's room over here, whereas over here, there doesn't need to be room? It works fine. So the reason is because her eyes are so much a smaller part of the image, and her body is turned so much more that the energy from her body is really a very strong tension in that direction. Okay? Now, to balance this image, this area here is basically a dead area. You don't need this area over here. I would crop in something more like that. Okay, now you can see that's quite a balanced image. Now it's a little bit more balanced, but this is exactly what you're trying to do to space. That the movement to see her back, that's called reverse. This image is called a reverse pose, that you actually see her back. So there's a lot of energy moving you into space. That's great. It's tempered by her face looking towards you. If she was looking that way, the same way as her back, looking all the way over to that way, it would be a completely different image. I'd have to see it to be able to diagnose exactly if it was working or not. But again, well done. Excellent. This is great. This is great stuff. Okay. Are we into our photo shoot? Yes, we are. Okay, let's just have a quick overview. Good. Okay. As an overview, what I'm going to say is create more of a relationship between the subjects. Okay, so instead of putting a hand on a shoulder, this is probably the closest. Give her a hug. Let her give her a hug. Or here as well, smush in closer. Everyone in closer. Okay, so this is interesting. I very rarely do this. Putting the directions here is this way and this way. So generally with portrait photography, I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying for the directions to be going into each other. Everything's always going in. Not to say that you can't take a picture like this, but I find that it's always more representative of the actual relationship when the lines are moving inwards. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so this is nice. Again, I would like to see some kind of connection from the subjects. So if she put her arm around her, that would be nice. As it is, it's two separate subjects really. The shape of the image is a bit. The problem is that it comes off the canvas a little bit. We've got these lines coming down that don't really help. If this girl's arm kind of went around like this, yeah, and it looks like there's a ledge here. So if her arm was coming around, that would actually help this circular effect of the image. That would make a big difference. As it is, it's a nice picture. You're again demonstrating your sensitivities to the space around the picture. We also have a nice separation between our subject and the background. See that little hair light on the top of their heads? That's just popped them out. That's nice. But like I said, that arm coming around here would make all the difference. We're not going to get involved in the stats right now because I think we'll wait for the next couple of classes until those numbers make a little bit more sense to you. Okay, here you've just missed the focus. Have you missed the focus, or Is it because of camera shake? Can't see. Not sure. Either way, it's not sharp. I think your camera just missed the focus. Again, it's a nice shape created here. Just I'm always edging on lines moving inwards to the subjects to show the relationship, as opposed to in this picture moving outwards. But this is nice. It's a nice. It shows that you're thinking. Definitely a nice background. The fact that you've lost the sharpness here does make a big difference. Okay, so this is the same place, just yeah, you can see from that, just a wider shot and a closer shot. So I definitely prefer this. You've got a great shape here. This is great, very energized triangle, nice symmetry as well. The girls look comfortable and natural. This is the kind of picture where it's okay, in my opinion, with the lines going out, because we've got such a strong triangle. Getting down a little bit lower would probably make a difference. Bringing the grass, when I'd be looking at this picture, I'd be thinking, look at this, like graphically, just graphically, what do we think about this area here? It's kind of like, ugh. Whereas this area here is amazing. Okay, this is graphically amazing. So I would probably be getting them on the ground, on the grass, to get rid of this area here. This isn't doing any benefit. This isn't giving any benefit. It's not adding anything to the picture. Whereas if they were on the grass, they'd be surrounded by green. I think that would be an improvement. Okay, so here we've got a big movement this way, and we've got space over here, so it works out. It's a little too cropped in, I feel. That it becomes like we've got kind of like three separate entities, even though that hand there does make a difference. But because there's no real binding, what I would try and do with this picture is he should sit up a little higher, and she should hug her, and she should hug him. And if he was up a little bit higher, we would end up with a more symmetrical shape of the faces. Right now, as it is, it's kind of down a little bit, but bind them together. Try that, keep that in mind, because everything else is great. You're cropping in close, you're showing sensitivities to directions and space. Just try and bind the subjects a little bit closer to each other. Okay? Again, a nice shot. This, I would be leaving more room on this side than on this side. This area is a dead area, as in we can see clearly that we've got movement coming this way. So this would probably benefit from, this tree isn't really doing that much for us. The light on her face here is messy. That should be avoided. The light on her face is fine. But yeah, the trees, the way I feel that you should be looking at trees is that they are, generally they're not graphically, tree trunks, I should say, tree trunks. Generally, graphically, they're not worth much. Okay, like you can see here, this is kind of ugly. Okay, what I use trees for is as opposing stools. People can lean their arm on a tree, rest their elbows on a tree, etc., etc. So I don't think graphically, right now, it's not really doing anything. So I think this picture would be better without the tree in it, if you're with me. And like I said, I would crop here and give some more room to over this side a little bit. Without the tree there, it might be a completely different picture. I would also try having her put her arm around her and really squeezing in, and again trying to show those relationships. That's really what we're trying to do so much. Okay, what should we take into Lightroom? I want to take this picture into Lightroom, I think, and let's do that. Okay, let's jump in. Import. Okay, you're coming up to the Lightroom class in another week or two. So now I think I really like. I'm just gonna add that. I'm gonna add a little bit of contrast to the picture. There we go. Just see, just actually quite a lot of contrast. And I want to add. I'm not going to do anything drastic to this picture, but I'm going to add some iris enhance here. So adding just it puts up the exposure drop saturation, clarity a little bit. I'm going to put the clarity up a little bit further. There we go. Oh, isn't Lightroom just the most fantastic piece of software? Amazing. Okay. Oh, look at the difference. Just what a teeny little bit of work did, and it's just giving it that edge. Really, it's just giving it that edge. I don't think we need to do more than that. I really don't. Could be that we could add a little bit of clarity to the top of his hair over here. You know what? Nope. It takes away from the eyes. I like it like this. What about with a vignette? I don't think it's going to help as well. Oh, maybe that does. Yeah. I think we'll add a little bit of a vignette. Good, let's have a look. Went from here to here. The biggest change here was the adding the contrast. Okay, this is great. Very impressed. Rocky, you've done really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. Okay, keep up the good work. All the best.